The highest win rate top lane build over in Korea is a tank nocturne setup. Spellbook is really underrated on a bunch of supports right now, and much more as we provide you guys with 10 of the most OP new builds and rune setups for patch 25.12. And did you know that every time we find a new OP build, we upload a commentary to our website showing you guys exactly how to abuse the setup, with off-tank nocturne as a really strong and emerging pick for 25.12. Our challenger top laner Strompist already has a new full game commentary out for you guys on our website. We upload 10 brand new commentaries, 2 for each role, every single week, and we always prioritize showcasing strong champs in meta or new builds that pop up. On top of this, we have by far the largest catalog of premium courses with thousands of hours of content to have you climbing to your desired rank in no time. SkillCapped is truly the place to be if you're serious about climbing this season, and the cherry on top is that we're completely risk-free. We've offered a rank up guarantee for years so that if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while using our service, you get your money back, no questions asked. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the top right corner or in the description below and get the rank you deserve. So arguably the most interesting new champion build that has popped up recently is off-tank Nocturne top lane. A few seasons ago, we saw a bit of Nocturne in the top lane, but it's been quite some time since he's been meta. Over in Korea, they have been loving their top lane Nocturne, and as a matter of fact, the champ has had the highest win rate for any top laner over the past patch. The sample size isn't super high with over 6,000 games played, but win rate is up above 53%, so there's definitely something there. The build that's providing Nocturne with the most success right now has him rushing Stridebreaker into Frozen Heart second and Kanik Rookern third. Stridebreaker as a rush is really nice for Nock because it provides him with instant shoving power. You have the AoE from Q, passive, and Stridebreaker, so you're able to instantly nuke waves and look for opportunities to flank with R. The setup works especially well into top lane champs who auto-attack very frequently like Jax, Yone, and Aurelia. Since Frozen Heart reduces the enemy's attack speed by 20%, it's also insanely valuable whenever you're diving the backline and are looking to take out the enemy ADC, as their damage output against you will be suppressed. And like we mentioned during the intro, to see this build in action, Strompist has a new full game commentary for you guys up on our website. The rune page is going to consist of Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Cutdown, while Biscuits and Jack of all Trades are for secondaries. Jack of all Trades has really good value with this 3-item core because you will be getting max value from the rune. You need 10 unique stats from items in order to gain the max value from Jack of all Trades, and with this setup, you have exactly 10. You will need to sit on that Doran's Blade though in order to reach the 10 stacks because it provides lifesteal, which is an extra stat you need. If you sell Doran's Blade, then you'll only have 9 unique stats instead of 10. There's a new Gragas build that has emerged over the past patch, and it's much more offensive than we are used to seeing. For a long time now, it's been Cosmic Drive and Winter's Approach as core items on top lane Gragas that offer up a more durable setup. Well, as a result of the AP item buffs from 25.10, a new core consisting of Rocket Belt and Storm Surge has shot up in power. What we're seeing right now on Gragas analytically is that Rocket Belt is his highest win rate rush item. It's not even particularly close either, with Rocket Belt winning 3% more than Cosmic Drive and Rod of Ages. With Rocket Belt into Storm Surge, the one-shot power is absolutely incredible. The active from Rocket Belt providing that dash is also super valuable to have on Gragas, because as long as you can get in range to hit your E, the follow-up burst damage after that is guaranteed. Our challenger top laner Sam has a brand new commentary where he's playing this build on Gragas, so if you're looking to try out the build, then you should watch that first. The standard rune setup for top lane Gragas consists of Phase Rush with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, while you want Presence of Mind in secondaries since you aren't getting any mana from the build. Most Rengar players are building him wrong right now, and he'd be performing way better in solo queue if they were running the correct setup. Majority of Rengar players either rush Hubris or Ghostblade, but Voltaic's Cyclo Sword is far superior. Voltaic has a 3% better win rate than all other rush items on Rengar, and it's for good reason. The passive from Voltaic has such incredible synergy with Rengar because you get the energized attack and are able to stack it 75% faster when either dashing or in stealth. Rengar with his passive can be dashing around relentlessly, so the item is especially good if you're able to get an early advantage and will be able to play up in the enemy's jungle. Second item in the build path is Opportunity, and then Lord Dom slots in really well third. Opportunity is also very undervalued on Rengar because its passive movement speed has perfect synergy with how Rengar wants to play. You want to be diving into fights with R, one-shotting an enemy squishy, and then retreat while you wait for cooldowns, so the movement speed on takedowns from Opportunity helps you retreat so much easier. For Rengar's rune page, you want to be taking Fleet Footwork with Triumph, Alacrity, and Cutdown, followed by Sudden Impact and Ultimate Hunter for secondaries. There's a new build path for Hecarim that has made its way into meta over the past patch. For a while now, Eclipse has been the most popular rush item on Hecarim, but this build completely bypasses the item. Instead of rushing Eclipse, you go for Spear of Shojin into Black Cleaver second and Death's Dance third. So the main draw to this build is that it provides you with a lot more durability. You're also getting a ton of ability haste from all 3 items, so the consistent skirmish power with this build is really good. You're able to stick around in fights longer, spam out Q, use and just be much more of a nuisance for the enemy team. The rune page you will grab with this build is Phase Rush, followed by Nimbus Cloak, Celerity, and Water Walking, while Triumph and Haste are the best secondaries. Mid lane Cho'Gath has kind of fallen out of flavor recently due to a few nerfs he's received, but there's a new setup that is providing him with a bunch of added power right now. Instead of rushing Shurelya's, which has been the meta build on mid lane Cho for a while, it's Rocket Belt that is working so much better. Rocket Belt fits a similar purpose as Shurelya's, as both items help Cho close the gap so he can get in range of his R. With Rocket Belt though, you're getting health while also receiving more damage and ability haste, so the kill threat on item completion is much better than that of Shurelya's. Second item and beyond is going to be very similar to how we've seen mid lane Cho'Gath built lately, with Riftmaker second and Deadman's Plate third. So the main difference is the swapping around of rush items, with Rocket Belt gaining a ton of relative power due to its 25.10 buffs. The rune page is going to consist of Hail of Blades with Cheap Shot, Grizzly Mementos, and Ultimate Hunter, followed by Axiom Arcanist and Celerity for secondaries. Last patch we noted how Rocket Belt has become the optimal rush item on Vlad, but it's even looking like there's a new optimal second item for him as well. Crypt Bloom has made its way into meta on Vlad, and it's performing incredibly as his second purchase. This is such a unique setup because Crypt Bloom really isn't played as a core purchase on anyone right now besides Vlad. So why is Crypt Bloom just all of a sudden a good pickup then? Well, over the past few patches, the item has received multiple buffs. In 25.10, Riot increased the AP on the item from 60 to 75, but increased the cost by 150 gold. The passive heal AP ratio was also lowered from 25 to 20%, but going off of those first two changes, 15 added AP has a gold value of 300, so with the item only going up by 150 gold, the offensive strength of the item did see a boost. And then back in 25.8, haste on Crypt Bloom was increased from 15 to 20, so with haste being a stat that Vlad loves, that was a factor in the item coming into meta on him as well. So the core to try on Vlad for this patch is a Rocket Belt Rush into Crypt Bloom's second and Rabadon's third. For the rune page, it's Phase Rush with Nimbus Cloak, Transcendence, and Gathering Storm, followed by Haste and Last Stand for secondaries. With Samira buffed for this patch, if you're going to be picking her up, then you should definitely consider Bloodthirster as a rush item now. In 25.11, Samira got some changes that increased the lifesteal effectiveness of her Q and R, which has made Bloodthirster a much more viable rush item for her. You're still going to be getting higher damage by rushing the Collector, but more damage isn't always the end-all be-all. If you can't survive, then dealing damage doesn't matter, so Bloodthirster with its additional sustain is going to slot in really well when up against more aggro enemy bot lane duos. If you're against a duo who has a lot of burst, then opting for the Bloodthirster Rush is going to be really nice to give you that additional durability. So the core build that you will want to play is a Bloodthirster Rush into the Collector second and Infinity Edge third. Keystone rune is Conqueror with Triumph, Bloodline, and Last Stand, followed by Sudden Impact and Treasure Hunter for secondaries. Over the past couple of patches, Korean Lucian players have started running a new setup, and it revolves around Black Cleaver as a core purchase. One of the main downsides to Lucian is that without his R, he's a very short-ranged ADC and needs to play up closer than most in order to get his damage off. Because of this, you either need to be incredibly skilled mechanically or be playing against a lesser mobile comp in order for you to survive fight after fight. Thing is though, you are bound to misstep from time to time regardless of how skilled you are, and this is where Black Cleaver comes in. Black Cleaver provides you with 400 health and 20 ability haste, so not only are you more difficult for enemies to one-shot, but your E will also be on a shorter cooldown, allowing you to stay more mobile in fights. You're going to be missing out on a considerable amount of DPS by opting for Black Cleaver instead of Infinity Edge, but you have to look at it from a different angle. If you're dying to an enemy assassin in a fight before you can even get any damage off, then it doesn't matter if Infinity Edge provides more DPS. If the Black Cleaver purchase allows for you to survive for the entire fight, then even though it has lower DPS potential, you will end up dealing more damage just due to the fact that you're not on a gray screen. So into comps who have significant dive threats is where this build can be very valuable for you on Lucian. For Lucian's Keystone rune, you want Press the Attack followed by Presence of Mind, Bloodline, and Cutdown, while Freeboots and Biscuits are for secondaries. Bard has been buffed for this patch, and there's also a new rune setup that has been picking up traction on him. Instead of taking Electrocute, it's actually Unsealed Spellbook that has been outperforming. Spellbook just got buffed, and we are seeing it come back to being a legitimate option for a bunch of champs now. Spellbook works really well on Bard because he's a support who's able to find use out of every single summoner spell. Regardless of what you swap to, since Bard wants to play up close in fights, he'll be able to maximize the value of his summoner spells. Now, this doesn't mean that Electrocute is bad on Bard now, but Spellbook should be considered more often. If you're confident in your lane matchup and think you have kill threat, then going for Electrocute still makes sense. In a lane where you don't think you have any kill threat at all though, it makes Electrocute much less valuable, and in that case, going for Spellbook is superior. The full rune page will consist of Spellbook with Freeboots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, while Deep Ward and Treasure Hunter are for secondaries. For the build, you will be taking Bloodsong for the item upgrade, with Deadman's Plate as the rush into Liandry's second. For the longest time, Guardian has been the clear-cut most optimal Keystone rune for Braum, but that is no longer the case for 25.12. 25.12. Just like Bard, Spellbook is now a great alternative option for Braum in certain situations. So with Guardian, it's going to offer up some added durability in lane, but if you don't feel like you really need that durability due to the enemy bot lane being less threatening, going for Spellbook is a great idea. For example, if you're playing against something like a Jin Yuumi who lack any sort of early game all-in power, opting for Spellbook makes a lot of sense. If you're into a more bursty lane though, like Lucian Nami or Tristana Leona, then going for Guardian would be more ideal. So overall, definitely don't autopilot Guardian on Braum anymore, as Spellbook can be more optimal if picked in the correct spots. Analytically, Spellbook does have a slightly higher win rate than Guardian on Braum, so it's clear that it has a place on the champion. For the full rune page, you want Spellbook with Free Boots, Biscuits, and Cosmic Insight, followed by Bone Plating and Unflinching for secondaries. As for the build, it's standard stuff with Solstice Slay as the item upgrade, Locket as the rush item, and Knight's Vow second. Alright guys, one last thing, our rank up guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit SkillCapped.com and see the difference. So that's going to be all for this one, guys. Those are 10 of the newest OP builds and rune setups that you can play for 25.12. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.